No doubt. Well, Shane, we had a little bit of a bomb dropped here on Friday, and I was so excited. I told you about it, and you were making fun of me. My God, you said Mike wants to do a podcast now. I really did want to. And so let's get into that. That's what we're going to talk about, the SEC schedule. Everybody's been talking about this thing, going to a 9-game model, 3 permanents, 6 rotating. And we're getting closer and closer and closer, Shane, to this being finalized. And none other than the man himself, Nick Saban, who always seems to have an opinion or he's got to get a message out because he realizes he's arguably the most powerful man in the sport.
Right.
So he tries to jump out ahead of these things. But according to some really good reporting here, Ross Dellinger, Sports Illustrated, one of the best out there, went down to Tuscaloosa, met with Nick Saban. And my goodness, Shane, is old Pap all mad. What's he mad about? And this was interesting. He leaked it himself. He says they are giving us Tennessee, no surprise, as an annual opponent. Auburn, you had to have known they were going to give them Auburn.
Right.
And LSU. So why is Nick Saban mad? Well, according to what Ross Dellinger says, Nick Saban says, the SEC is currently in the process of figuring out these schedules. They're looking at all the SEC teams, including Texas and Oklahoma, looking at them the last 10 seasons, and they're kind of putting them top half, bottom half, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
Obviously Alabama, you're at the very top. Vanderbilt, you're at the very bottom. And they're trying to pair this up not only for rivalries, they're obviously going to keep the rivalries intact. They're trying their best to keep proximity in the discussion so that we don't have Texas A&M playing South Carolina every year. That makes no sense.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is balance. If you're one of those top half teams, you're probably going to get another 2 top half teams. If you're in the bottom, you're going to get 2 bottom teams to kind of just make it more competitive. And that's where Nick Saban is getting mad. Here's his quote exactly. And if I can't believe it, Shane, that Tennessee, their graphics team and all this, they haven't plastered this all over the internet. Here's what Nick Saban had to say about Tennessee. They did a 10-year whatever. That sounds like a papaw, doesn't it? 10-year whatever. Well, some of those years, Tennessee wasn't as good as they've been in previous 10 years. But now that they're good, they use that to be before those 10 years. We got 3 teams, and 2 of them in the top 10, and the other is in the top 10 a lot. Historically, over a 25-year history, and the 3 best in the East are Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida. You look at historically in 25 years, Alabama, LSU, and Auburn, 3 best in the West. So we're playing all of them. And oh my God, Nick Saban complaining. He's got more money, more resources, better roster, better coaching staff than anybody in the country. He's dominated the sport for 2 decades, and he's sitting here complaining about having to play Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU. What's your thoughts on that, Shane?
Holy shit, man! If he would have saw me valet parking, we would have had an argument there. I don't know, man. I mean, I get his point. Now, the first reaction, obviously, is I was trying to think. My kids use this. They say, "Don't be a Karen." What's the male version? Don't be a Steve, is it? Is it Steve? A Kevin. Don't be a Kevin, And sorry if Kevin's listening here. You've probably heard that joke before. But I think about when he was complaining about the college football playoffs, and then you followed it up with this one, and I'm not getting my damn way, Mike, That's what you think. But when you do pull back the layers, okay, and you forget the coaches, forget all the noise for a second, he's got a point, man. You got Auburn, that's won national championships. You got Tennessee, which is up and coming, which is, I'm not saying they're going to compete for national champions anytime soon, but, it's a team that beat you last year. And then you got LSU, which is historically going to find its way on a national stage at some point. So I think he's got a point there. But then part of me is like, Nick Saban, you're not going to coach forever. You created a legacy down there in Tuscaloosa. Don't you want your predecessor to have a little tougher when you leave? So maybe this is all just noise, Mike. He's got to say what he's got to say for the Alabama fans, but deep down inside, he wishes they could throw Georgia in the mix.